On Hanju's side, the system announcement quietly appeared, stating that Hanju successfully repelled Huang Jihai and obtained a spiritual treasure. Congratulations, you have obtained a 6th grade spiritual treasure. He felt that it was a very good item. Hanju laughed happily. There is only me in the world. Shout out, who else is there? At that moment, a voice came from outside. Hanju, are you there? Hearing that familiar voice, he immediately guessed it was his master looking for him. Hanju felt a bit embarrassed that his master came personally to find him, and Shichuan immediately responded, "It's fine, has Yue ever told you about my senior brother Guan Wugang?" He recalled, he did mention him. Then he quickly added, he came back yesterday, but he ran into Huang Jihai near Yuling sect and ended up severely injured. Hearing this, Hanju could only stay silent. Truly, old Huang was as expected. He scratched his head in confusion and said, "What bad luck, how did this happen?" Shichuan continued, "When he was defeated, Huang Jihai got injured, and the nearby forest was also damaged by sword energy. She speculated that he had gone to Yuling sect to challenge Hanju and was defeated." Hearing this, Hanju broke into a cold sweat. "That's right, is master here to punish me?" Shichuan smiled, "I just didn't expect Huang Jihai, with his great reputation, to lose to you. I came to find you this time, hoping you could help suppress senior brother Guan." He showed a doubtful expression, a bit worried about suppressing Guan Wugung. She proposed a plan. The sect master might not be as strong as senior brother Guan, but he is very loyal to Yuling sect, and his cultivation has been delayed. If we remove him from the sect master position now, it might disappoint others. Besides, senior brother Guan is only here for revenge. Once he recovers, he will come to challenge you, and if he wins, he'll become the sect master. Hanju said seriously, "I can, but it's best to handle this quietly." Shichuan responded, "Of course, it will also give senior brother Guan some face." While they were talking, she suddenly looked down at the black-eyed chicken. "What, you're raising a chicken? This chicken doesn't seem simple." Hanju suddenly showed a terrifying smile, which startled her. Training is boring most of the time, so having it around isn't bad. Shichuan hadn't expected Hanju to find training boring too. Then she remembered, the once-in-100-years Immortal Domain Conference is about to begin. At that event, you can obtain all the magic treasures, pills, precious materials, and even cultivation manuals you want. As long as you have enough resources to exchange. Will you go? But he refused because he didn't want to take the risk. At that moment, a voice of reprimand came from the Hammer Breath Sword sect. "What, you couldn't even block his sword?" Huang Jihai lowered his head and admitted, "I don't want to admit it, but it's true." The person on the opposite side spoke, "You are the highest battle power in our sect, except for me." He could only explain. His spiritual energy is extremely domineering. This is the first time I've seen such spiritual energy. Aside from that, the person talking to Huang Jihai was Deng Han, the sect master of Chuzi Sword sect. He asked, "Is there anything else?" He blushed awkwardly and said, "This person is extremely handsome. In our Chuzi Sword sect, when it comes to looks, no one can compare to him." Deng Han's expression immediately became helpless. Is this really important? Seeing this, Huang Jihai quickly waved his hand. "All right, it's not important." He suddenly remembered that the 6E Sacred Sect had been targeting Yuling sect. "Once my injury is healed, I plan to challenge the 6E Sacred Sect," he said. The old man believes that the situation cannot be underestimated. The previous Grand Elder approached me, hoping I could resist the 6E Sacred Sect, but I disagreed. As long as that person is still alive, the 6E Sacred Sect cannot be eliminated. Huang Jihai was curious about who that person was. Deng Han said, "The sect master of 6E Sacred Sect. This person was once as passionate as you when he was young." He continued, "He fell into the demonic path by fate and became the sect master of 6E Sacred Sect. According to the ancestor, among all the sect masters of 6E Sacred Sect, he is the strongest. This time, you can test his strength, but don't act recklessly." His gaze became firm. "Don't worry, although I'm arrogant, I'm not foolish. 7 years later, Hanju sat idly, thinking, since Yang Tiandong and Chu Fan were captured, my cultivation has improved, but my identity hasn't changed. Maybe it's just an act of compromise. Sect Master Li has suffered too much, either beaten or attacked on the way. At this moment, the black-eyed chicken walked over and called out to him, saying it wanted to go out and have a look. Hearing this, Hanju thought for a moment. The black-eyed chicken's strength was already comparable to a Qi refining realm cultivator, and its intelligence was growing, becoming more curious about the outside world. Thinking of this, he stood up, startling it, and said, "All right then." Hanju raised a spinning chicken-shaped symbol and threatened, "The outside world is dangerous. Many people want to eat you, do you know that? This is your forbidden zone. Remember, you must not enter. You must become powerful to the point of invincibility before you can go out, or else you will definitely die, even I don't dare to go out." After hearing these words, the black-eyed chicken lowered its head, crying in frustration, "Master, don't say any more. I won't go out." Hanju was happy because he successfully brainwashed it. Just then, Li Qingzi hurriedly ran over, "Elder Han, something happened. Fenya Valley has been destroyed by the 6E Sacred Sect. The Valley Master passed on a message to me before his death, saying that the 6E Sacred Sect has 10 God Transformation Realm experts, enough to sweep the Great Yen cultivation world. The next target of the 6E Sacred Sect will likely be Yuling Sect. Elder Han, what are you going to do?" Before he could finish speaking, Hanju had already rushed out in a hurry. He quickly grabbed his bag, not forgetting to take the black-eyed chicken with him. As he grabbed the bag, Li Qingzi saw this and shouted, "Hurry up. I knew I didn't misjudge you at a crucial moment." After preparing, Hanju said, "Shouldn't we take the chance to run?" Li Qingzi was shocked by Hanju's words and opened his mouth. Hanju, in a fit of rage, used all his strength to try to escape. Li Qingzi desperately grabbed his foot, gasping for breath. Hanju, carrying the plump black-eyed chicken, angrily shouted at them, "Run." But Li Qingzi held on tightly. "Do you hear that sound? I came here to tell you to prepare, not to pack your things and run." When Hanju looked over, he heard him complaining, "And where are we supposed to run? There are so many disciples here. Even if we flee, we cannot let them take our residence. Those evil people will only station here, and in the end, they will still destroy Yuling Sect." After hearing this, Hanju fell into deep thought and was about to say, "It doesn't matter if Yuling Sect is defeated, at least the people are still here, but I still underestimated how important Yuling Sect is to them." At this point, the system prompted again, mentioning that Yuling Sect was facing the danger of being destroyed, and provided 2 options with corresponding rewards. After reading it, he asked himself, "What should I do?" Then, Hanju turned to Elder Li and asked, "You mentioned an intelligence report earlier. Why haven't they arrived yet?" He answered honestly, "They are still cleaning up the mess of Fenya Valley, and it will take time. We have at most 10 days left." Suddenly hearing this, he grabbed the old man's shoulder, "Sect Master." He widened his eyes and asked in confusion, "Why is Yuling Sect always targeted? I thought Yuling Sect was strong before." Elder Li was stunned by the question. Hanju didn't stop, continuing to ask, "It seems like you've made Yuling Sect seem unrealistically powerful." The old man replied helplessly, "Actually, Yuling Sect is very strong, it's just that the strongest person, the ancestor, he has been missing for 500 years. If he were still around, no one from the 6E Sacred Sect would dare to touch us. 1,000 years ago, he single-handedly made the 6E Sacred Sect suffer, and their sect master couldn't even defend himself." Upon hearing this, Hanju became curious, "So, the 6E Sacred Sect wants to take revenge on us?" Elder Li awkwardly said, "That's not important. My master and I used the communication treasure left by the ancestor. As long as the ancestor returns, the 6E Sacred Sect will be nothing to worry about." At this point, the old man suddenly grabbed his hand and said, "Elder Han, we must endure and hold on. As long as we hold on, there will be no more threats, and you can rest easy and focus on cultivating." Hanju had no choice but to agree. Then he pushed Elder Li away with his foot, as if saying that if they couldn't win, they should escape immediately. The old man also agreed with his idea. Elderly added, "If we really can't win, I won't let you die with us." Hanju was pleased and agreed to leave. Together. By the way, does the sect have any pills suitable for cultivating the nascent soul stage? The old man answered awkwardly, Yuling sect rarely has alchemists. You'll have to figure that out on your own. Hearing this, Hanju didn't hesitate and turned to leave. Though Elderly was reluctant, he still tried to stop him. Finally, Hanju compromised, "I was joking. I'm going to buy a beast taming bag," but in his heart, he thought it would be more convenient for running away. And so, a plan for him and his beast to escape began. On the streets of the inner city, people were coming and going, and Hanju was floating in midair. The black-eyed chicken looked somewhat dissatisfied and frustrated. People kept staring at it, as an impressively large animal was stuffed into a burlap sack, with a frame outside so its head could stick out. Suddenly, the system prompted, detected a person with innate luck. Do you want to check their background? It startled him. Hanju looked at the system panel and sighed, another person with innate luck. Yuling sect really is a sect full of good fortune. The query content is about Xianqing Jun's identity, including their cultivation level, true identity, and several outstanding features. After reading it, his expression changed, and he sighed, "If I could ascend, I'd at least have to be a cultivator at the Great Ascension stage." Hanju froze, noticing an important detail, what happened to her. After pausing for a moment, he began to speculate, there's only one woman on the square now, it should be her. A girl appeared in front of Hanju. It was Xianqing Jun, sitting on the steps by the railing. Two men were also by her side, fighting over her affection. After their verbal arguments, they started physically fighting each other, having a great time, but Xianqing Jun showed no interest, even looking quite bored. Suddenly, as if realizing something, her eyes widened, and the hidden aura was detected. Xianqing Jun's attention suddenly shifted to Hanju, who was behind her. Her interest was piqued again as she lightly pressed her lips together, "Looks like I can stay a bit longer." As Hanju was walking, the system notification sounded again, "Xianqing Jun has taken an interest in you due to your appearance. Affection increased to 1 star. He seemed very helpless, planning to avoid the battlefield to steer clear of trouble. Hanju then turned back to look at her, his face full of confusion. "I didn't expect that my world-class charm would get me into trouble." At this point, Xianqing Jun's attention was more focused on him, her eyes fixed on him. Shortly after, the system notified again, affection increased, now at 2 stars. This notification shocked both the protagonist and his pet. At this moment, Xianqing Jun stood before a mountain with words on it, a glance at the vast sky and sea. She seemed very intrigued. After thinking for a while, she suddenly understood, these 7 words indeed make sense. Finally, Xianqing Jun raised her head, a smile curling at the corner of her mouth, and said softly, "I'm even more interested now, I like to save the best for last. See you next time." After saying that, she waved goodbye to Hanju. Finally, it's over. She's gone. It should be because of the formation, she couldn't find the entrance. He seriously discussed Xianqing Jun's real strength with the black-eyed chicken, but it was more focused on whether the items in the beast taming bag could be returned. After saying that, he hung a painting on the rock wall, hoping she would forget about him. 7 years passed in the blink of an eye. Hanju had reached the 8th layer of the nascent soul stage, but he was still dissatisfied with his current strength. "If I haven't broken through to the god transformation stage before the 6E sacred sect arrives, I'm doomed." Suddenly, a notification appeared on the system panel, mentioning that 2 people were being chased, and 2 others were ambushed. Hanju was extremely surprised. Even Lilia Z was ambushed by fellow disciples. Despite the previous screening, none of the nascent soul cultivators were spies. Then, Hanju's gaze suddenly became sharp, as if remembering something. "Right, I almost forgot about Guan Wugong." No wonder. It turned out that Hanju wasn't wrong in his guess. Guan Wugong didn't dare challenge the god-slaying elder and had to give up. He planned to become the sect master but was still furious, so he went to fight. Li Qingchen to vent his anger. Han Ju felt relieved that several of the elders were unharmed. Suddenly, a voice called out, "Are you there, fellow cultivator? Can I see you for a moment?" Han Ju sighed. "Xianqing Jun is here again. She has visited me twice in the past 7 years with no results, but she doesn't plan to force her way in. She really has no ill intentions, but 3 strikes and you're out. If I ignore her again, I'm afraid she'll make trouble for me." After calling out, she quietly waited outside. This time, Yu really stepped out and confronted Xianqing Jun face to face. However, the one who was panicking was the black-eyed chicken, and it seemed like it was about to cry. It lowered its head and begged her, "Please, don't eat my master." Xianqing Jun looked at its actions and couldn't understand. Han Ju slapped the shameless thing away and then introduced himself, "I am Han Ju. I wonder what brings you here today." Xianqing Jun softly said, "I'm a disciple of Yuzhu Peak." A few years ago, she had encountered a senior brother in the inner sect and realized what it meant to fall in love at first sight. Finally, she said, "I came here uninvited, hoping my senior brother won't mind." "Senior brother, your handsomeness is truly rare in this world, unparalleled." Hearing this, Han Ju could only helplessly thank her, thinking about leaving as soon as possible. Xianqing Jun took out a token and stopped him. "Don't hurry, junior sister wishes to present a treasure, hope senior brother will not refuse." He was very confused. "What is this?" She explained the origin of the item. "This is the Tianxian Mansion token. Tianxian Mansion is a sacred place in the cultivation world. This might lead you to that sacred land, and after you leave, you may be able to reach the nascent soul stage." Xianqing Jun thought to herself, "Boy, I don't believe you're not moved. With your appearance, Gongben will definitely get you." However, contrary to her expectations, Han Ju directly rejected her. "Thank you for your kindness, junior sister, but I don't want to leave Yuzhu Peak. I plan to cultivate here for life." Hearing this, Xianqing Jun hurriedly turned around to find something. "It's fine if you don't value this, I still have something else." She took out a small sword. "This is the Earth Spirit Sword. It can easily take the life of a high-level golden core cultivator." Seeing that he was stunned and motionless, Xianqing Jun started to feel uneasy. Then she took out a bottle. "Then I'll give you a bottle of pills that can help you break through to the golden core stage." He still had a petrified expression, coldly indifferent and completely uninterested. She continued to take out a book. "I'll also give you a body refinement technique, plus 3 spell manuals." Feeling that it wasn't enough, she wanted to take out more. When Xianqing Jun took out a red spear, Han Ju finally couldn't hold back. He spoke up to stop her. Xianqing Jun didn't understand what Han Ju meant. Seeing his surprised expression, he unlocked his hidden cultivation. And a powerful spiritual aura surged out. "Actually, I've already reached the nascent soul stage." Xianqing Jun was stunned, realizing he was at the 8th layer of the nascent soul stage. Then she spoke, "Unless you are the god-slaying elder." Han Ju didn't hide it and quickly admitted, "Can this secret stay between us?" At this moment, the system notified again, "Xianqing Jun's affection for you has increased, now at 4 stars. After a while, she became happy. "I understand now, what you need is simple." Xianqing Jun took out a jade bottle. "This is a nascent soul pill. It can help you break through to the god transformation stage. Is 1 bottle enough? If not, I'll give you another one." Han Ju was speechless at her wealth. He couldn't help but wonder, what exactly is junior sister's background? She didn't answer and instead asked another question. "My identity doesn't matter, but junior sister wants to become a Dao partner with senior brother. Would you be willing?" Han Ju hesitated upon hearing this. Then he slowly spoke, "You can take out so many treasures, you must be extraordinary. Can you help us deal with the 6E sacred sect?" Xianqing Jun did not hesitate to refuse. "I cannot pay attention only to me, only senior brother can." Han Ju helplessly said, as expected, "Inviting the demon lord is not an easy task. He shamelessly betrayed himself, so if I agree, what will you offer in return?" Upon hearing this question, she covered her mouth and laughed. Then she spoke up, "The price is cultivating together, becoming stronger together, would you be willing?" At this moment, the system issued a prompt, Xianxing Jun wants to become your Dao partner. Option 1, refuse. Option 2, agree.